welcome back to the Deep Dive. Now today we're diving into something a little different. Yeah, it's a document called MCDP 7, Learning. And I know what you might be thinking, another military manual. But trust me on this one. This one's really a game changer, especially for a Marine like you.
Absolutely. It's the Marine Corps philosophy on how to learn and how to lead.
Yeah, and a big focus of this is how those two things are completely intertwined.
That's right. MCDP 7. It isn't just about memorizing facts or following orders. It's about developing a mindset, developing skills to become a truly effective Marine and leader.
And you know, one of the things that I found really interesting about this is that it says that every Marine is a leader, or at least a future leader.
That's right.
So think about where you are on that spectrum right now, because that's what I think makes this deep dive so relevant.
And Chapter 4, which is called The Learning Leader,
Okay.
really digs into that idea. And it starts off with this powerful quote from John F. Kennedy. He said that leadership and learning are indispensable to each other.
And it's not just like some feel-good quote. MCDP 7 backs it up with some real-world examples,
He does.
like General Dunford, who emphasized how important it is for Marines to be constantly training themselves, educating themselves, learning from all their experiences.
Right. And then there's also, the quote from John Boyd about how, the difference between a great military and a mediocre military comes down to, just a small handful of combat leaders.
Okay, that's a little bit intense, but it does highlight how important leadership development is at every level.
It does.
So how does this learning leader idea actually play out in the Corps?
Well, think about, the best leaders that you've encountered in your time as a Marine. The ones who not only gave orders, but also explained the why behind them. The ones who encouraged you to ask questions, to learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, those leaders, they definitely leave a mark.
They do.
They create like a whole culture of learning within their units.
Exactly. And MCDP 7 really hammers that home. It says that leaders are responsible for fostering and encouraging learning in everyone around them.
And it even goes as far to say that self-directed study is as crucial as being physically fit.
It is.
In fact, MCDP 1 talks about this concept called footlocker education, which General Gray was a huge advocate for.
That's right.
Now, footlocker education might sound a little old school, but it's about Marines taking the initiative to learn on their own, using whatever resources they have available to them. And, think about it. Resourcefulness. That is a key trait for any successful Marine.
It is.
It's that drive to constantly learn and improve, no matter where you are or what you have access to. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
But MCDP 7 doesn't just stop at self-directed learning. It takes things a step further, saying that teaching and leading are really two sides of the same coin.
It really is. It actually states that Marines who can't teach effectively are going to struggle as leaders.
So why is being able to teach so important for a Marine leader?
Well, because effective teaching is about more than just giving instructions. It's about breaking down complex concepts, making them understandable, and empowering others to think critically and to solve problems on their own.
And those are essential skills for any leader,
Absolutely.
whether you're leading a fire team or an entire battalion.
Imagine you're a squad leader, and you're teaching your Marines how to emplace explosives. It's not just about showing them the steps, it's about explaining why each step is important, what the potential risks are, and how to adapt if things go wrong. So you're not just giving them orders, you're setting them up for success.
And when a Marine makes a mistake, a good leader doesn't just reprimand them. They turn it into a learning opportunity for the entire squad.
Exactly. It's about creating a culture where mistakes aren't seen as failures, but as chances to grow and improve.
And that leads us to another key element that MCDP 7 emphasizes: humility. Now, humility might seem like a strange concept in the context of the Marine Corps, but hear me out on this one.
It is. It's actually vital for continuous learning, especially for leaders. MCDP 7 makes it clear. Even the most senior leaders don't have all the answers.
You remember that anecdote about General Mattis? When he was commanding Task Force 58, he intentionally broke down barriers between ranks to create a more open learning environment.
That's right. He recognized that everyone, regardless of their rank, has something valuable to contribute. And creating that kind of atmosphere fosters trust and encourages everyone to learn from each other.
So how can you, as a Marine, cultivate humility in your own leadership journey?
Well, it starts with being open to feedback. Even when it's tough to hear, it's about admitting that you don't know everything and that there's always more to learn.
Because even the newest recruit might have a fresh perspective that you, as a more seasoned Marine, could learn from.
Exactly. It's about valuing the experience and knowledge of those around you, regardless of their rank.
Now, we talked about mental agility, the importance of continuous learning. But MCDP 7 doesn't forget about the core of what it means to be a Marine. Technical and tactical proficiency.
Right at the end of the day. You know, the Marine Corps is a warfighting organization. And to be effective in combat, you have to be incredibly skilled in your craft.
MCDP 7 calls this brilliance in the basics. It's about mastering those fundamental skills. Marksmanship, physical fitness, combat tactics, so that you can execute them flawlessly, even under intense pressure.
You know, it's like building a house. You can't have a solid structure without a strong foundation. And those individual skills are the foundation for everything else.
And it's not just about individual skills. It's about how those skills contribute to the effectiveness of the entire team.
Right.
Because no Marine fights alone, right?
Exactly.
And as you move up in rank, take on more responsibility, those skills become even more critical. They're not just responsible for your own performance, but for the performance of those you lead.
Right. So it's this constant cycle. Learn, apply, teach, and learn again. And it's all driven by that desire to be the best Marine you can be.
We've covered a lot of ground here. And it's clear that MCDP 7 is much more than just a dry manual.
Right. It's a philosophy, a guide, a roadmap for developing the mindset and the skills that are essential for success in the Marine Corps, both as an individual Marine and as a leader.
And we've only just scratched the surface. There's so much more to unpack in MCDP 7.
There is.
So before we jump into the next part of our deep dive, I want to give you all a moment to think about what resonated with you most so far. What are the things that you're going to take away from this and apply to your own experiences in the Corps? And we'll give you some time to ponder that while we get ready for part 2, where we'll dive even deeper into the principles and practices of MCDP 7. So stay with us.
Welcome back. Let's continue our exploration of MCDP 7 and how it can help you become a more effective Marine.
Last time we were talking about how MCDP 7 emphasizes that every Marine is a leader, or at least on the path to becoming one, and how important it is for Marines to constantly be learning and growing.
Right. We explored how fostering a culture of learning, embracing humility, and honing your technical and tactical skills all contribute to becoming a better leader.
But MCDP 7 goes even deeper, outlining specific principles that can help you translate those ideas into action. It's not just about knowing what to do, it's about understanding how to think.
Yeah, and one of the most important principles is critical thinking.
Now, you might be thinking, of course, Marines need to think critically. But MCDP 7 takes it a step further. It's not just about assessing a situation. It's about being able to analyze information, identify biases, and make sound judgments, even when the pressure's on.
Yeah, think about it. You're out in the field, leading a patrol. You encounter unexpected enemy activity. You can't just rely on your training or follow preset plans. You need to be able to think on your feet, adapt to the situation, and make decisions based on the best information you have available.
That's where critical thinking becomes a lifesaver. And MCDP 7 encourages Marines to develop this skill through different methods, like case studies, wargaming, and the Socratic method.
The Socratic method, with its constant questioning, can be really effective. Imagine you're back in the barracks, and your squad leader's leading a discussion after a training exercise. Instead of just saying, here's what went right, here's what went wrong, they start asking questions. What were the biggest challenges you faced? What assumptions did we make that turned out to be wrong? How could we communicate more effectively next time?
That kind of questioning not only helps everyone learn from the experience, but it also forces them to think critically about what happened and how they can improve.
Exactly. It's about turning a debrief into a real learning opportunity. And MCDP 7 highlights another crucial principle that goes hand in hand with critical thinking: initiative.
Right. Marines are expected to be proactive, to anticipate problems, and take action without needing someone to tell them every step.
Right. But encouraging initiative, especially for junior Marines, requires creating an environment where they feel empowered to make decisions and, importantly, learn from their mistakes.
Because, let's be real, mistakes are going to happen, especially when you're pushing boundaries and trying new things.
Exactly. And that's where leadership comes in. MCDP 7 emphasizes that leaders need to provide clear objectives, but also give Marines the freedom to figure out the best way to achieve them.
So it's about trusting your Marines, giving them the space to grow, and understanding that those mistakes are often the best learning experiences.
Yeah. Now, initiative and critical thinking are essential, but there's another principle that's critical. In today's rapidly changing world: adaptability.
Right. The battlefield is constantly evolving, and Marines need to be able to adjust their plans and tactics on the fly. Sticking rigidly to a plan that no longer fits the situation can be disastrous.
Exactly. Adaptability is about being flexible, responsive to new information, able to make quick decisions based on the changing situation. But it goes beyond just reacting. It also requires innovation.
Innovation, that's where things get really interesting. That's about coming up with new solutions to problems that haven't been encountered before.
Right. Think about the way technology is changing the face of warfare. Marines need to be able to embrace these changes and find creative ways to use them to their advantage.
And MCDP-7 emphasizes that. Those innovations can come from anywhere, not just from the top brass. Every Marine has the potential to contribute new ideas and challenge the status quo.
It's about fostering a culture where people feel empowered to think outside the box and try new things.
And remember that humility we talked about earlier, that plays a role here too.
It does, because the best leaders are willing to listen to and learn from anyone, regardless of their rank or experience.
The next game-changing idea could come from a Lance Corporal who sees things from a completely different perspective.
Absolutely. But MCDP-7 also reminds us that all of this, the initiative, the critical thinking, the innovation, it has to be grounded in something even more fundamental: moral courage.
Moral courage, that's about doing what's right, even when it's difficult, even when it's unpopular, even when you face pressure from your peers or superiors.
Yeah, it's about standing up for your values and having the courage to admit when you're wrong, which can be tough for anyone, especially in a hierarchical structure like the Marine Corps. But MCDP-7 recognizes that true leadership requires moral strength.
Because technical and tactical proficiency alone aren't enough. You need a strong moral compass to guide your decisions, especially in challenging situations.
We've covered a lot of ground. We talked about critical thinking, initiative, adaptability, innovation, and moral courage. These are the key principles that MCDP-7 outlines for developing effective Marine leaders.
But how do you actually put these principles into action in your daily life and your career?
Well, that's what we'll explore next time, in the final part of our deep dive into MCDP-7.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've been exploring MCDP-7, the Marine Corps Doctrine on Learning, and how it applies to you as a Marine.
Right, we've talked about the learning leader and those core principles: critical thinking, initiative, adaptability, innovation, and moral courage.
But now it's time to get practical. How do you actually put these principles into action in your daily life as a Marine?
Well, MCDP-7 doesn't just leave you hanging with these abstract ideas. It provides some concrete tools and approaches you can use. One of the most effective is something called guided discussions.
So not just like lectures or PowerPoint presentations.
No, this is about active learning. Guided discussions are designed to spark dialogue, encourage critical thinking, and get everyone sharing their perspectives.
I can see how that would be really helpful. Instead of just like debriefing after a training exercise with a list of what went right and wrong, your squad leader could use a guided discussion to really dig into the why.
Exactly. They might ask questions like, what were the biggest obstacles we faced? Or what assumptions did we make that turned out to be incorrect? Or even, how could we have communicated more effectively as a team?
Yeah, those kinds of questions make everyone think critically about the experience and how they can improve.
Right. It's not just the squad leader telling everyone what to do. It's a collaborative learning experience. It creates a more dynamic learning environment where everyone's input is valued, and that leads to better decision-making and problem-solving down the line.
So guided discussions are a great way to apply MCDP-7 at the small unit level. But how does it translate to the bigger picture, to like professional military education?
Well, MCDP-7 places a lot of emphasis on PME, but it's not just about checking the box. By attending the required courses.
It's about taking what you learn in those courses and applying it to real-world situations.
Right, and seeing PME as a continuous process, a journey of lifelong learning that might involve seeking out additional courses, reading books and articles, or even just having conversations with other Marines who have different experiences and viewpoints.
Yeah, it's about being proactive, seeking out knowledge, and always looking for ways to improve your skills and understanding.
Absolutely. And another key element of applying MCDP-7 is mentorship.
Where a more experienced Marine guides and supports a junior Marine.
Mentorship is about more than just giving advice. It's about building a relationship, sharing experiences, and helping that junior Marine develop their leadership potential.
Imagine you're a young Lance Corporal, and you have a sergeant who takes you under their wing. They answer your questions, share their own successes and failures, and help you navigate the challenges of being a Marine.
That kind of guidance can be invaluable. It can boost a Marine's confidence, help them make better decisions, and inspire them to become stronger leaders themselves.
So MCDP 7 provides this framework for learning and leading. It encourages Marines to embrace those core principles, engage in guided discussions, actively participate in PME, and seek out mentorship opportunities.
But it's important to remember that MCDP 7 isn't some magic formula. It's a guide, a roadmap. The real work happens when you apply these principles to your own unique experiences and challenges as a Marine.
It's about taking ownership of your development, seeking opportunities to learn and grow, and always striving to be the best Marine and leader you can be.
Because ultimately, MCDP 7 is about empowering Marines to reach their full potential and lead the Corps into the future.
So as you continue on your journey in the Marine Corps, always keep the lessons of MCDP 7 in mind. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep leading.
And Semper Fidelis.
That's a great place to end it. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into MCDP 7 learning. Until next time.